Dr. Tony DeVeto has been a Westcliff University faculty member since 2020. In 2010, he left the corporate world to focus exclusively on his higher calling, teaching at various California campuses, such as California Baptist University, University of Phoenix, and Westcliff University. In 2015, he formed a Subchapter Corporation called DeVeto Hair Styling Services in Murrieta, California. And please take it away, Dr. DeVeto.
Okay, all right. I'm going to be speaking with a little faster cadence than I normally do, so bear with me. Just follow along with the slides. I'm super stoked to be here. Very excited and a little nervous, so bear with me, okay? So here we go. The title of my presentation is, and this is 6 years in the making. Are you running your business or is it running you? Fostering innovation via optimized scheduling. This is actually a case study in that very topic, optimized scheduling. So here's my agenda. Due to time constraints, I'm going to just, I'll be covering the following sections of my topic using an abbreviated variation of the scientific method, from my introduction and SWOT analysis all the way to references and questions. So my wife, Janice, and I touched down in Riverside, California in 2024, and we ultimately navigated south to the Temecula Valley in the Inland Empire. Let's see. Janice soon took a hairstyling position at a day spa in the area as a sole proprietor by renting a space in the salon, commonly referred to as booth rent. So as a sole proprietor, Janice was getting killed by taxes, and frankly, she was quite vulnerable to litigation as well. And this is one of the major downsides to operating a business as a sole proprietor per Kennedy 2020. So 11 years later, took us long enough, right? We decided We decided to form an S-Corporation and named it DeVeto's Hairstyling Services, DHSS, to better shield us from litigation issues as well as levy our tax burden, which is just two of the many advantages of incorporating, especially in California, the litigation capital of the world, as I like to affectionately call it. Unfortunately, only 3 years later, the business was booming in gross sales, but becoming unmanageable primarily due to no-shows, cancellations, and forced double bookings. Much more on that later. A problem solver by nature, I had to step in and do something. After all, I had been teaching business classes since 2003, and I firmly believe in the old adage, happy wife, happy life. Now, in terms of a little bit more DHSS history, as we all know, the COVID-19 pandemic hit in 2020 to 2022 and nearly decimated our business, were it not for grants, credit cards, loans, and Almighty God's amazing grace. We toughed it out and were surprised and delighted with a welcome comeback year in 2023 last year. And the future of the business is very healthy and attractive, two essentials of future-proofing your business, according to Graveling and Bushoff 2020. Currently, Janice rents a booth at an upscale salon in Murrieta, California. So operationally and strategically, every business, regardless of size, should conduct an informal or formal SWOT analysis as regularly as necessary, per Kennedy 2020. I like to do so at least quarterly now, depending on how the business is running. Although, admittedly, I have not always done so as I should, but teaching the W undergraduate business capstone class, Cap 400, Development of Business Strategy, has motivated me considerably. I also asked Google Gemini 2024 to help me find a good SWOT analysis template, and I ended up using this one from Smile Templates. So as you can see from the DeVeto's Hairstyling Services SWOT analysis, under strengths, Janice provides premium hairstyling services in an upscale salon as a master hairstylist with over 40 years experience. This is incredibly significant when you consider the sheer amount of consistent and professional relationships she builds with her numerous clients and the trust she earns from them for repeat business. In fact, she averages at least a 67% client retention rate, CRR, meaning that for every 10 clients, she'll have at least 6 to 7 rebook consistently. Under weaknesses, Janice does not own the upscale salon, but rents a booth or space every day she works, and this booth rental cost can increase frequently. For example, in 2024 alone, it's already gone up twice at the discretion of the salon owner. So it's critical that Janice garners enough sales per day to cover her daily booth rent, or we're in the red for that day. The best way to do that is to please the client as much as possible. And some clients, let's face it, are just impossible to please, which adds to the emotional drain, not to mention standing on your feet all day in this business. Under opportunities, and I'll cut right to the chase and reveal the one item in this SWOT analysis that needed the most attention, and that centers on optimizing the scheduling process. Now, Janice uses the Schedulicity app for scheduling her clients, but it does not tell her how to do so strategically. Much more on that later. In the meantime, Janice is constantly attending hair shows, watching Professional Beauty Association PBA videos, amassing certification, licensure, and continuing education credits to stay current with the California Board of Barbering and Cosmetology. She specializes in shortcuts, bobs, pixies, highlights, Brazilian blowouts, color correction. That's in my opinion, her best service, and so much more. Fun fact, by the way, she copied Jennifer Aniston's hairdo way back in the 90s, replicated it on one of her clients, and that client became a walking billboard for her and drew in so many new clients. It was amazing. Now, under threats, competition from within and without the salon is cutthroat and fierce in this business. And only the cunning, shrewd, and perceptive survive as long as she has, 44 total years and counting. A few of Janice's clients have been stolen from her by even her fellow stylists in the salon on her days off. It's quite a shame, but I always encourage her by saying, that's good attrition. They didn't deserve you anyway, Janice. Also, and here's a trend, home care products like Clairol and Madison Reed threaten salon professionals because they tout you can do this yourself at home and apply the product easily. Good luck with getting that done just right. Lastly, there are constant updates ad nauseum to laws and regulations governing hairstylists, especially in the state of California, that in the interest of time, I won't get into all of them. Just trust me, there's always some law threatening their good work for no apparent reason at all. Now, the problem statement for DHSS centers around erratic scheduling, and the only way to rein it in for me was to do some research regarding multiple choices or choice overload for scheduling appointments, conducting detailed sales trend analyses, and sealing the deal with the law of scarcity from my hero, Dr. Robert Cialdini. Put another way, instead of running our business, it was quickly running us. So I found the root cause of the erratic scheduling problem, multiple choices or choice overload, which creates decision fatigue, analysis paralysis, delays, no-shows, and the like, according to Adriatico et al. 2022. The solution? Counter choice overload. Alexi 2023 with optimized scheduling via sales trend analysis and the law of scarcity. Indeed, the ideal outcome for the hairstylist with numerous clients throughout the week is to avoid no-shows, cancellations, and double bookings if possible, with smooth sequential transitions between client to client appointments. So the construct of optimized scheduling, OS, in the current body of scholarly business literature, especially as it relates to hair salon settings, is particularly scarce, with much more room for future research. Nonetheless, borrowing from other relevant industries literature, Newey et al. 2024 defines OS as the efficient utilization, and I might add, allocation of business resources to provide satisfactory customer service in a timely fashion. Naturally, this is crucial for the airline, hotel, and medical industries in terms of booking flights, rooms, patients, accordingly, to name a few businesses, including the hair care services industry. The construct of choice overload, CO, or what I affectionately call multiple choice syndrome, is the current body of scholarly business literature is relatively robust, but with always more room for future research. Nonetheless, CO refers to the difficulty in decision-making when people are faced with a great deal of choices. In fact, Adriatico et al. 2022 also stated that the CO experience can often create decision paralysis, where individuals completely forsake even making a decision due to overanalysis. Alexi 2023 agreed and also found that people tend to experience a reduction in choice satisfaction and decision confidence as well. Peterson and Chang 2022 agreed and found that as people age, and this is interesting to me, Their memory declines along with the brain's processing speed, and consequently, they have greater difficulty in selecting from a higher amount of choices. Incidentally, upwards of 40% of Janice's clientele are above the age of 60. So this is where the IO psychologist in me comes out. And as I apply the law of scarcity to the DHSS business, the law of scarcity in the current body of scholarly business and psychology literature is abundant. It is robust. And one of my favorite resources in this regard, as part of my favorite social psychologist, Dr. Robert Cialdini's seminal work in the Six Laws of Persuasion, per Cialdini, 2021, the law of scarcity states that when a particular resource is perceived to be in limited supply, its value increases. The airline industry loves this, the law of scarcity, and uses it every single chance they can to counter their own choice overload. When they tell you that certain flights to certain locations at certain dates and times are becoming less available and are going like hotcakes, so you better book now. Emphasis mine. So Dr. Cialdini also stated regarding the law of scarcity, people want more of those things they have less of. And if you have a limited time in which to move to get an item or service, that is what most produces yes for people. That's why marketing firms and marketing departments are especially interested in the law of scarcity, because it works. I like to put it this way. If I want something valuable and it's not available to me, you better get out of my way, because I'm going to find a way to get it. Okay, so I took a mixed methods approach to solving the problem of erratic scheduling and to drive optimized scheduling. I conducted sales trend analyses for 2017, 18, 19, and last year, 2023, via Square summary reports, also known as IRS Form 1099-Ks. According to the Square website, 2024, Square is a point of sale POS platform that provides business owners payment options for their customers in person or online. Janice uses her smartphone with a Square Reader extension where her clients can swipe their credit cards for payment, much like other credit card processing devices you see everywhere. The cool thing about Square is that you can download their app and visit their website and gain access to a plethora of business reports and data analytics. In the next few slides, we will peruse through the sales trend analyses for 2017 through last year, less the COVID years, followed by the psychological rationale I alluded to earlier. And I want you to take note of what I saw that changed everything for the better for DHSS. Okay, so without relinquishing too much proprietary information, here's the 2017 sales trend analysis by month of the year, day of the week, and time of the day. Pay particular attention to the day of the week bar graph in the lower left-hand corner. Admittedly, we made a lot of money that year, but the erratic Tuesday through Saturday schedule took a toll on my wife physically and emotionally because of the excessive rate of no-shows and cancellations over a 5-day week of choice overload for her clients' hair appointments. In fact, she would often call me at my place of work to tell me that she got stood up again or that she was just waiting around the salon because she had massive holes in her schedule, what I like to call dead air, dead spaces, or appointment slots. Also, note that there are, on very, very rare occasions, my wife would come in on a Sunday or Monday to satisfy certain clients' emergency needs to get their hair done or color corrected. So that's why you see an insignificant dollar amount for those 2 days. Moreover, keep in mind that Janice averages about 17 to 20 plus clients per week, which means that she sees about 4 to 5 plus clients per day. That's a lot of scheduling choices overall. Nonetheless, it was time to make a decision. As previously mentioned, the IO psych in me had to counter the choice overload article et al. 2022, where Dr. Cialdini's law of scarcity and reduced the 5-day work week to a 4-day work week. So the most strategic day to cut from the schedule was Tuesday, even though it was the second highest amount of daily sales revenue next to Wednesday. A bold and risky chess move, if you will, but this simple decision had an amazing and welcome ripple effect throughout our DHSS business, which I will cover in further detail in the discussion section. So here's the 2018 sales trend analysis, and notice that Janice now has 3 days off in a row, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, optimizing the schedule to a leaner work week for scheduling an average of 17 to 20 plus clients from Wednesday through Saturday now is starting to take shape. Fortunately, we lost no financial momentum in the transition from 2017 to 2018 because what little we lost was offset by 1 day less in booth rent expense. Woohoo! Not to mention again that Janice now has a 3-day in a row weekend off to rest her weary body and mind from the physical and mental demands of the job. Recall the earlier SWOT analysis weaknesses. Now here's the 2019 sales trend analysis, and note that in addition to Janice's 3-day in a row weekend off, Cialdini's 2021 law of scarcity is really countering choice overload quite handedly, and once again compelling the 4-day work week to acquiesce to the optimized schedule. Yet again, we lost no financial momentum in the transition from 2018 to 2019, and even gained a little in addition to one day less in booth rent expense. Woohoo! Indeed, optimized scheduling is working well so far. Now let's take a look at past the COVID years and examine the 2023 sales. So notice here in the 2023 sales trend analysis, again, in the lower left-hand corner, how nicely all 4 days are lining up and equalizing in the new optimized scheduling and mitigating the dead spaces or appointment slots I referred to earlier in Janice's old 5-day work week, where the average 17 to 20 plus clients had the choice overload of an extra day of the week with up to 5 or more slots. Well, we couldn't be happier with optimized scheduling via sales trend analysis and strategically applying the law of scarcity, just like the airline industry does, which does a great job of countering the choice overload that occurred when offering clients too many scheduling days and times during the week. In fact, this decisive strategy, had an amazing and welcome ripple effect for the business by doing at least 5 things simultaneously. 1, obviously the 3 days in a row weekend off to recuperate after a 4-day work week. 2, 1 less day for booth rent at the time, and that was a $2,600 a year of savings. 3, clients would now have only 4 days to choose from for their hair appointment slots, a direct result of Dr. Cialdini's law of scarcity versus choice overload. Number 4, we cut no-shows and cancellations significantly by at least 75%, and Janice could now double book clients only if she felt like it. And then number 5, we awarded ourselves with a leaner, tighter business that no longer runs us, but we run it. In an effort to future-proof our business per Graveling and Bushoff 2020, we strategically and intentionally squeezed a 5-day work week into 4 days and did not lose any momentum financially and gained some much needed peace of mind in running the business by mitigating those dead spaces or slots in the schedule. In essence, DHSS is doing the same amount of business, if not more, in less time. So as often as I can, I tell my business strategist students, some are here tonight, that like life in general, business happens on purpose, intentionally, and the key is optimized scheduling in the manner I've just explained. So lastly and naturally, further research is needed across numerous client-based businesses for the purpose of determining whether our DHSS results will generalize accordingly. As previously mentioned, the airline industry often advertises their flight reservation schedule by stating that certain flights to certain destinations at certain dates and times are booking fast and only 2 are left at a certain price. However, they do so on such an incredibly larger scale per Gang and Who 2020 that it's important for small and medium-sized businesses, SMB client-based business owners, to tailor what I did with DHSS accordingly to their businesses. So here's my references. And here's the best part of DeVeto's Hair Styling Services, my pretty wife, the beauty experts. I'm open to your questions. I look forward to answering them.
I have a question.
Yes.
Have you shared this specific example with your classes?
I have in the past, especially where I taught at another school where I was teaching MBA graduates, students, and they love this because this is something that you can use right away. You can start activating, optimized scheduling as soon as possible. And especially for those in business, students that are already in a business like this, a client-based business, this is an awesome way to get yourself running the business as quickly as possible.
Thank you. I think Maria Rojas has a question.
Mhm.
Yes, Professor. I wish to have classes with you. I'm a first semester.
All
Yeah,
right, let's do it.
you have a fan club if you notice in the comment section. So yeah, I was very intrigued about that. So, well, in this case was the client was your wife, but how will you manage to sell that service that you did, all the analysis that you did to another company, to another like the same type of client? Because sometimes they will be kind of afraid of these new techniques or these new ideas that we bring, and we want to improve them, but it's hard sometimes. So
yeah. As a business consultant and IO psych person, I can tell you that I would myself. I would rather. I would like to see how someone's running their business in the first place, and then just kind of sit by and observe for a while and see what's happening, and then just take a look at the schedule. And right there, I think you're going to see. I've been in corporate America long enough to know that the schedule is the key, not only for scheduling your employees, but your clients and your vendors and all these appointments and keeping track of them. And I can tell you that whatever that schedule looks like is what your business is ultimately going to look like as well. Is it going to run you, or are you going to run it based on that schedule? And I see one of my students, my business strategist students, has a question. What advice will you give to others who want to start a business instead of working 7 days to build? What's your opinion about starting off at 4 days? Again, what's your schedule look like? How many clients do you have? What's the strength of your business? If you're just starting out, I'd go all in at 7 days a week. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. When you start a business, you've got to put every effort you can into it. You're going to be putting in massive hours, 60, 70, 80 hours a week just to get it off the ground. And then you can start tweaking it to see what your client base looks like. And then develop the optimized schedule accordingly. Use a specific schedule application for the yes, schedulicity. My Anna Oropeza's question: did you use a specific schedule application for the appointments? Yeah, as I mentioned before, my wife uses Schedulicity to actually keep track of where her clients are in certain appointment slots. But the unfortunate thing about Schedulicity is all it does is list your clients, where they're at, when they're coming. It doesn't tell you strategically how to optimize the schedule, like I mentioned right here. You've got to, in fact, right now for 2024, my goal is to get her coming home at 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. She used to be going out to 6, 7, and sometimes 8 o'clock at night on those 4 days just to accommodate clients. But now I want to squeeze that schedule even more. I want to make it even more optimized and tighter by bringing it down to about 4 or 5 o'clock, especially on Saturday. And that way, and the key here too is if you're good at what you do, people are going to drop everything to get to see you, right? If you can replicate Jennifer Aniston's hairdo in somebody and they love it and they keep giving you compliments about how well you do your hair and you're good at it or whatever you do, then people are going to accommodate your schedule as you optimize it for them. So in other words, you're going to be eliminating a lot of the choice overload, the multiple choice syndrome that I like to call it, by getting them into a certain time slot that works for you so that you don't have to be there all night or all week. Any other great questions?
Yeah.
Dana? Oh, Salman.
Yeah, thank you, for the whole presentation. I kind of liked it, but I do have a few questions. First of all, you did mention something about the Square. I mean, I myself, I'm also a developer as well, so I know these plugins and all that. First of all, I mean, there are just a lot of plugins, out there in the market other than Square. The most famous is, of course, is PayPal, the Stripe, and all the other, scheduling, the payments options as well. But isn't I mean, she does have the experience. She's got all the knowledge, she
Mhm.
needs to run her business, but isn't going to be more helpful for her if she just, go out on the internet and look for the, expert, like kind of like an IT guys who knows their stuff, to better help her, in our business, to come up with a plan like okay, for the scheduling, I'm gonna give you like a 2, 3 options. Like we can go for this, plugin, we can go for this
Right.
software, this tools, and I'll let you know how to use that. And I can give you the admin access as well. So in that way you can see, okay, you can see your schedule before even coming to your shop, whatever, and that way, all I'm saying is, I
Sure.
think it should be more, focusing on finding an IT expert to help her with all that, stuff.
Sure. Well, let me say two things about that real quick. The
Hmm.
reason why we like Square is because everybody gets it, and they charge a flat rate of 2.75% on every transaction, every credit card, no matter if it's Amex, which is notoriously expensive, all the way down to Visa. And secondly, yeah, would I like to hire an IT expert to help us with any technology issues? Yeah, but that's one added expense that we can eliminate by just getting the data analytics from Square, which is really sufficient for us. So it's a win-win for us. Square really gets it. There are a bunch of other POS
like it helps them a lot,
right.
But how can we do it something similar in businesses like that they has to, like, there is no scheduling? How can they find out which days are
Yeah.
better? Like,
Again, Nada, the key is optimized scheduling, especially scheduling. And this is the key because I was in the restaurant business for the longest time. I cut my teeth in the restaurant business. And I can tell you this, if you don't optimize the schedule for your employees based on your busy times during the day and the week, forget about it. It's not going to happen. Your business is going to be running you until kingdom come. You got to get your hands around that business, especially in the restaurant industry, by optimizing the schedule for your employees, for your staff. And we used to spend hours. It was a chess game every Friday trying to get that schedule done for the next week. And man, it takes a lot of work, but I'll tell you, if you get it right consistently based on your clientele, highs and lows during the week, it's going to be a fantastic time. You won't be miserable in your restaurant job, and your restaurant will be working for you instead of you working for it. And that's the thing we had to keep. It took me 6 years to finally figure it out, but it was well worth it.
thank you.